tells you things that you don't want to hear. You are the one who keeps my secrets safe from all I fear. I am the mirror that you're looking when you want to see the person underneath it all, the one you want to be.
Welcome to Two Local Radio. Today we have a very special guest here. He's a business owner for Smoky Mountain Sounds. His name is Ron. He is an outstanding, owner, slash DJ as far as weddings, and they've been, in various awards, and it's just a pleasure to hear him talk about his business and, the great things in Smoky Mountains, the best place on the face of this earth. All right, everybody, welcome Ron.
Thank you. I appreciate that intro.
Not a problem. So why don't you tell people exactly what you do?
Well, as you mentioned, I have a full-time DJ entertainment company. I'm located in Sevierville, but I travel Knoxville and surrounding areas. I provide entertainment for weddings and events. We do karaoke, we do uplighting, I do corporate events, birthday parties, anniversaries. I work with each client to make sure that, it's a successful event. From custom tailoring the music to finding out, what type of personality they're looking for, if there's any interaction, games, any of that type of thing that they're looking for to really make it fun and be a celebration, not so much just a formal, everything doesn't have to be a formal reception, just turn it into a big party.
Exactly. And from what I heard, you all really take time with the client. Unlike other places, you spend 15, 20 hours just preparing?
At least. And it varies from event to event. I mean, some events take more work than others, but, most often than not, when I, book an event, I really take the time to find out what they're looking for, get the demographic of the, guests that are going to be there, really find out, what the planner or whoever is, how different they want to make it and not just be like the regular entertainment that shows up to plug and play.
That's what it's about. I mean, you don't win, awards and everything for, being a fly-by-night company. So how long has the company been in business?
This version, I've only been in business with this company for roughly about maybe 5 years in this area. I moved out here in January 2009 from the Chicago area where I had 20-plus years experience.
There you go. And how do you see business, different than when you were out in Chicago?
It's different as far as the packages are shorter length of time. In the Chicago area, I was more used to 6, 7, 8-hour receptions. Here the average is maybe 3 to 4. I'll get the occasional 5-hour package. Other than that, I mean, the music is pretty much the same. People are still looking for great value. They're still looking for someone who can definitely be, a master of ceremonies and keep the party moving so there's no lull or awkward moments. It's just more and more of the couples of today are looking for a good value and making sure that, their choice is something that what guests are going to be leaving where the guests are happy and I've beat their expectations of what DJ entertainment should be.
Well, I know for myself that I like to change my mind a lot, and people I know like to change their mind a lot. Does that pose a problem at all? There's some DJs out there and just people that present weddings that just give an attitude if you change your mind or if you change the itinerary.
No, I mean, the biggest thing is being a DJ, we're in the customer service business. This is what we're here for. And, majority of the people, this is the one and only time that they're going to get married. So, of course, they're going to change their mind. Of course, they're going to be, very particular about how they want things and how they want it to sound and what it's supposed to look like. And that's just part of this business, I have a database I take with me. It's over 33,000 songs. But it's all legal music, and that's something that I can be proud of. And I get, people all the time making last-minute changes on either specific songs or can we do this? Can we add this person? Can we take this person away? I mean, this is part of their day, and this is what they want, so it's up to us as professionals to accommodate those needs.
And I realize what you're saying, but there are so many companies out there that run scams or just want to just make the quick buck, and it's like, all right, yeah, I'll plan this, and then if you change it, they give an attitude, or they just make the presentation just come out shitty. I mean, it looks good at the time, but afterwards, it's like, did I really pay for this?
Right. Exactly. And, a lot of that is, when I sit down and talk with couples, I have wedding information sheets I send to them, which is about 5 to 7 pages long. And that goes through, kind of works the flow of how the evening should be, knowing that special events, will take place and in the order that they'll take place. And I've never had an issue. I mean, like I said, people are definitely going to change their mind. They're going to come up to you the day of the event and say, we thought about a couple more songs. We'd like to add this person. Can we do that? And the answer is yes. Like I said, we're in the customer service business, and this is what we deal with on a weekly basis, and that's what being professional is all about.
So, how small or how big of crowds have you dealt with since you've been out in the Smoky Mountains?
The smallest wedding I've done so far was about 23 people. I think that wedding was last year. It was at a cabin up in Pigeon Forge. It was 23 people. It was a very laid-back crowd, but, once we started getting into dancing, they were just very much there for the celebration, and the event was only a couple hours long, and they all really had themselves a good time. The largest group that I've done out in this area so far was probably about a little over 700, and that was actually a father-daughter dance.
Nice. So people that may, just want an exotic, wedding and want to go, somewhere where there's, where it's beautiful. Can you explain a little bit about the Smoky Mountains since you've been out here?
Sure. I think the Smoky Mountain area doesn't get enough credit for all that we have to offer. I mean, especially the area that I live in here, we've got over 900 miles of hiking trails. You've got so many different cabins and resorts that just have so many beautiful areas, whether it be pavilions or gazebos, outdoor areas for receptions. I mean, just, it's incredible out here, the amount of resources we have and the different areas that we have. And I think it's unlike any other area, like New York or Vegas or, New York. It depends on what they're looking for. I mean, if they want real glitz and glamour, maybe this area is not the best for them. But if they're just looking for an area that offers, so many things, it offers a great area, beautiful scenery, things for the families to do, then this is probably one of the better areas, I would say, that they could plan any event, not just a wedding, but this area is also big for reunions, corporate events. We got a lot of buses that travel in here for senior groups and everything with the theaters. So this area has so much to offer that I think is very beneficial for couples who are planning a wedding or an event.
I will agree to disagree on one thing with you. I think even if you're looking for a lavish wedding or, entertainment, the Smoky Mountains, just that 9 mile strip, you can find just about anything to do.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I wasn't meaning that we don't have, between here and the Knoxville area, there's so much that we have to offer couples. I mean, and the area is just growing tremendously. I mean, with everything that's happening, and especially in this area with the island growing, and there's 2 or 3 more venues and another resort that's being built. Each year there's more and more that we have that we're offering, that it makes it so much easier for couples to know that this is an area to plan their wedding or event.
Well, I mean, for the crazy couples out there, they've got the romantic thing out in Smoky Mountains, such as the sky lift. They can go on, scenic helicopter tours, as well as it's the only place where you can go on a helicopter tour, and then if you feel adventurous, you can go zip lining or jump in a monster truck.
This is true. This is very true. Yep, a little something for everybody.
Exactly. Very family friendly. As far as like your music, I mean, how far back as far as no, not decades, but how far do you go back? The 40s, 30s, 50s, and what genres do you mainly play?
Well, I go back to the 1920s. I mean, I even go back to like the late 1800s with music, just with the different events that I've, done that I get requests for. I would say I don't know if there's the main genres that I get requests for at weddings now are anything from your mainstream radio, stuff like Bruno Mars and Flow Rider type of music, to today's country, Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Georgia, Florida line. It just, each wedding is so different on what they want. Anything from Michael Bublé to Frank Sinatra to oldies to the piano guys. So as a DJ, you have to just have such a wide variety. And my database grows each and every week when I sit here and plan what I know this week's playlist is going to be. Today's entertainer just has to have such a wide variety, to me, from the 40s to today's current music. There's no, like I say, this week I could be doing country and mainstream. The following week could be all classic rock and 80s. So it varies from week to week.
Exactly, and it sounds like you really enjoy your job and what you do, and that's a huge part of it. Now, as far as requests, do you all take requests? If somebody requests a song in the middle, even though it's not a part of the set?
I do, but a lot of it is I go by the appropriateness of the type of event and what the couple have requested. I'm open to requests. I always make that announcement and always double check with the couples to make sure that's okay. And majority of the time, and when the guests come up, it's music that fits in with what we're doing and the feel that the couple want. There's only a couple times here and there to where someone will come up with something like, that's a great song, or, it's just not something that would go appropriate with this event.
That sounds like it makes a lot of sense. Now, briefly, can you describe like your day-to-day plans, or is that not possible? Like an average wedding, how it goes about.
Well, a lot of it I can kind of do a run through. If I have a ceremony that starts at 4:30 and I'm doing a ceremony and reception type of deal, then I'll arrive to the venue a good couple hours earlier because the ceremony is usually a partial setup, and of course the reception's a full setup. I'll usually start your prelude music about 15 or 20 minutes prior to the ceremony starting. That way there's music for when the guests start arriving and are being seated. We've already gone through, the order of the music as far as, when the parents or grandparents will be walked down, I'll play the appropriate music for them. Then when the bridal party is ready to walk down, I'll play the appropriate music for them. And, of course, then the processional, which would be the bridal march. If they're having a candle lighting or sand ceremony, sometimes we'll pick music out for that. Other times the couples don't care to have music for it. And then I always work with the wedding officiant to make sure I get the key words that I need to know when to start the music for their recessional after they've been, pronounced husband and wife, to walk back down the aisle. Then usually it's about 45 minutes or so for them to have pictures taken with family and everyone, and then, head over to the reception area. I'll start by lining everyone up and doing introductions to bring them into the venue. One of the first things we'll do is we'll then have a blessing. If it's a buffet, I will have the couple lead the line off first, followed by immediate family and friends. Once I know that everyone has gone through the buffet line and has pretty much eaten, I'll start making announcements to have everyone make sure they have something to toast with. I'll have the names of everyone who will be giving a toast. Once we go through that, then we do the cake cutting. From the cake cutting, sometimes depending on the couple, I'll have a couple different games that I'll play as icebreakers with the group to kind of really get it more fun, get it more in the celebration order of things. And then we'll start off the dance floor by doing the special dances, and then I'll do open dancing pretty much for the rest of the evening, depending on how, long the time frame is.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So is it basically just CD DJing, or can somebody request like if they want a piano, or how does that exactly work with your company?
Um, well, I don't offer soloists or violinists or anything of that nature. I'm pretty much just I can do the DJ aspect of it. I have resources that I know of classical musicians where if they want, a classical musician or someone for ceremonies and that, I have those resources for recommendations. I have resources for recommendations if they also want a band to go back and forth in between a DJ. But as far as myself personally, that's all I offer are DJ services. Like I say, I also get into uplighting, which can also enhance a venue, enhance the room to make it pop more for a celebration. Um,
That's absolutely awesome. Now, what if somebody calls you, out of the blue, says, "Okay, yeah, well, we're ready to do a wedding," and you sound like the right, DJ after they talk to you and everything, but they don't know where to go from there. Do you have other people you can recommend them, like cake decorators, or you know, um, people that actually do the ceremonies or anything, or do you just tell them
yes.
like go check in a yellow pages?
No, not at all. The last few years, I've been very fortunate in this area to belong to a couple of associations, and I've also been very fortunate to work with a lot of different wedding vendors. So I have a couple different catering companies that I recommend, a couple different wedding officiants. I can recommend flowers. I can recommend formal wear, tuxedos and gowns. We can recommend wedding cakes. I even have a couple of charter companies that I can recommend for not only for limo, but of course, shuttle buses depending on the size of the group and where the ceremony reception is going to be at. So I do have resources put together to where I do those recommendations, and I do that as more of a customer service because majority of people are trying to plan out of state and looking at stuff online, and sometimes they succeed and sometimes they don't. So I really try and be not just a company that will let them book a DJ, but I also try and be a resource for them as well. We also do a lot of blogs about weddings and different attractions in the area. This way people can kind of see, if they need to plan a vacation or when the best time is to have a reception.
And do you have them? Do you know them links offhand for these blogs?
I'm sorry, repeat that question?
Do you know the links offhand for the blogs?
I'm trying to think. I think they're on the gallery page of our website. I'm not sure offhand.
Okay.
I know I also have a business Facebook page as well that has the blogs on there as well.
All right. And why don't you give everybody that website so they can check it out as well?
The website is Smokey. I spell it with an E, so it's Smokey. The word mountain spelled out, and of course sounds plural, Sounds. So it's SmokeyMountainSounds.com. And if you go to the website, you'll see a lot of content. We have a lot of pictures and videos from the different events that I've done, from weddings to fraternity parties to church groups. We also have blogs on there from not only the different areas that you can have your wedding at, but how to stay within if you're working on a budget. We also just did one on the different attractions that are available in the area as well.
Exactly. And I'm actually looking at your blogs as well. You have a lot of pictures on here that I see. I go through a lot of different companies, and they normally are not, as professional. I mean, there's some that, give you a great rate, but then they give you garbage.
Right. Well, this website is about 8 weeks old. It took us a few months to put together, and I wanted to be different with this website because I didn't want it just to be like the average DJ website where it says, hi, who we are, it has a picture, some information, call for pricing and availability. I put a calendar on there. That way, people can see when I'm available and when I'm not. And I really wanted this to be more of a resource that would help the area for weddings and events, and of course help couples who come to that site by giving them maybe a better idea of what to expect, or maybe certain questions to ask And that way they can kind of, have a little homework in their hand as well for the whole process of not only hiring entertainment, but looking for other wedding professionals.
Okay, and without going, exactly into pricing, because we don't want somebody to listen to this and try to undercut you. That's
Right.
not the, intentions. But say if I had a medium-sized wedding, could you give an estimation between this price point and that price point as a starting point?
Well, I could say this, that, and I'll start it at this. Usually with the 2-hour events, I'm roughly at about $325. And of course it goes up. It's not really based upon per se the number of people, unless you're looking at a reception of 300 to 400 people. It's usually just based upon, a time frame of, are you looking 2 hours, 4 hours? Is the venue that you're having the reception at, is the ceremony going to be in the same place? Is it a different place? Would additional equipment be required? Those are really the things that help with the price quote. The only time I really get into travel fees, if we're talking something that's like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away, then of course, then I got to charge for time as well.
And how many right now are on your staff? Is it just you, or do you have like 5, or?
It's just me. I'm training my stepdaughter, who has already done a couple of events. Right now, she mainly just does schools. In fact, this last Saturday, we did Sevier County High School Band Banquet, which was a success. But right now, I'm the main DJ that we book for weddings and events.
Well, that's awesome. It's awesome because you're more of a mom and pops, joint in what you would call it, and it's better that way because when corporate takes everything over, it can end up a mess sometimes.
Exactly. And I don't. I'm very particular because I've been in this business for so long about hiring. I'd love to have additional staff. It's just a matter of finding someone who not only loyal enough to the company, but loyal enough to understand that what kind of commitment being in this business takes. Because you will be giving up a lot of weekends. We don't get holiday pay, we don't get sick pay, and we work when work comes in. And so that means if you're working 3 days a week or 6 days a week, then that's what it requires in order for the business to grow.
And, roughly how many appointments a day can you take? Is it just one because it is by yourself, or?
No, I've done up to 4 appointments a day.
And when would you say is your the busiest time as far as planning the weddings versus the, slowest times for those that aren't familiar with that area?
I would say the big months, it might be different for me, but this year, the slowest month so far this year was February. March has been busy. April was definitely busy for me. May is slammed, and so is June. July seems to slow down a little bit, but I do have, I think, 6 to 7 events booked on my calendar for July, and that's a slower month. Sometimes August, and then you kick off with heavy months, September, October, and then into November it becomes a little slower, but then December picks up. So it just depends, I guess.
And I would just throw a plug out there because I've been out here for a little while now, well, many years altogether. But I know as far as the Smoky Mountains and Sevierville and everything, when it comes to Christmas, there is no better place to be than the Smoky Mountains, hands down.
Oh, I completely agree. I just, not only with how they decorate the area, but the Christmas shows and just that a certain feeling you get by being out here in the mountains. I completely agree.
In the summertime, it's great, too, because there's always something going on. So if you have, a huge wedding and you want, places to go, you can go. There's so many, anything you can name, you basically can do in the Smoky Mountains. Besides the casino, but you can go right over the mountain and get that as well.
Exactly, into Cherokee, exactly. You've got the theaters, you've got shows, you've got zip lining, You've got go-karts, you've got movies, you've got hiking, you've got camping. I mean, there's just so many activities and so many things to do. I don't think in the time that I've been here and with all the weddings and different events and the different groups of people I've come across, I think there's maybe one person whom I met who did not like their stay here. All the couples and all the people I talk to, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, we love this area. We never knew about it until this event." And they always say we definitely are going to plan our next vacation around here. I mean, it's a gorgeous area. It's a beautiful area, and I feel very blessed to not only live here, but to be able to fact that I can DJ every weekend here in the Smoky Mountains with all its beauty. I mean, it's a true blessing.
Exactly. I mean, because I've been in California, been in Connecticut, as well as in Jacksonville, Florida. Even went to the Orlando area, and yeah, it's nice, but it's not the same. You're not going to find anything with the mountain view and anywhere else. I just don't see it anywhere.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, we vacationed in Florida in January, and to me, the one thing I always hear from people in this area is the visitors is that people are so friendly. They're so welcoming. They're so eager to help you find resources or help you get, if they can, help you get tickets or whatever for the shows and everything. And I don't always hear that about other destinations.
Yeah, exactly, especially up north. Friendly, I don't think so.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I mean a different kind of friendly, but not like here. Nowhere near.
Yeah, I just, like I say, I'm very blessed to have been able to come out here and have things fall into place the way they have, and have the company grow the way it has. Last year, I left the corporate world, so this is what I do full time. This is what supports my family. I enjoy what I do. I'm very passionate about it. I love the opportunity to sit down and help couples plan out their wedding, and I love the different variety of events that we get calls for. It's just, I enjoy it. I'm really lucky with that.
So, for those that plan, weddings that are, all business and just want like nonstop music, I mean, how many songs can you do in a row before, break?
Well, we don't take breaks. I mean, when a DJ starts, if someone books me for a reception, let's say, for instance, from 4 to 8, I don't take any breaks. So whether it be ceremony music, background music, and so on, we're playing, the whole time. Now, take in mind that you can play anywhere between 15 to 17 songs an hour. So, for a 3-hour reception, roughly you're playing what? Maybe close to, 65, 70 songs. 4-hour reception, maybe closer to 100 songs. So when I talk to couples or when I plan events, I let people know, say, if you'd like to submit me a playlist of any artist or particular songs you want to hear, great, no problem. If you trust my judgment on, the right mix of music to play for your group, then I'll work with you, and usually beforehand when I talk with the couples or the planners, I'll let them know, give them a rough about idea of what I'm going to play, just so we know that we're on the same page, because I don't like to leave anything to chance.
So when you're working, you're not, socializing, you don't really, have that many coworkers, but you're not socializing with the, other parties nonstop. You're not having cigarette breaks and all that. You're just all about business and getting the job done and making the customer happy.
Well, I'm about the socializing as far as getting to know the different people that are there. I mean, if people are coming up to me asking for requests, then I'll try and say, hi, what's your name, talk with them a little bit. I'll walk around the room periodically to, check the sound levels, to kind of check and get the vibe or the atmosphere of the room to make sure that I'm in sync and that I'm playing the right music at the right time. But no, I don't drink and I don't smoke, so I don't take those breaks per se. No. Mm-mm.
Well, that is very important to many people because this is their one time. For some people, it's magical. And those that are beyond one time, it's still magical because this is the one time for them. And the fact that you're willing to, accommodate their needs in any way, shape, or form, necessary, as long as it's not outlandish, is great. And the fact that you do it by yourself, or yourself and your daughter, is phenomenal, because there's not many people that can do it. That's a real talent. No wonder why you're getting awards, and no wonder why people are coming to you rather than other companies.
Right. Well, a lot of it, I say, is it's all about staying consistent. I've got to, each week we've got to look at it as we've got to put ourselves in the view of the customer. Of if I were getting married, or if I were having the event this Saturday, what would I want the vibe to be like? How important would I want things to be? And when we get lucky enough to receive an email or a phone call from a couple requesting that date, and then you sit down and talk with them, and they feel comfortable enough to say, we want you to do our wedding. I mean, that in itself, that's an honor right there. That's a privilege right there for them to hire you. And so therefore you take that privilege and honor, and you use that the day of the event by saying, if this were me, what would I want? What would I want it to be? And therefore it's like you know that you have to be on your game. You truly want them to understand that you're going to exceed their expectations of what they think DJ entertainment should be, and you want their guests and everyone to go away knowing that they just had a great time, they've got that experience here in the Smoky Mountains, and then they're going to go back and tell people who may think about coming out in this area to plan an event or vacation that this is the spot they want to be.
Exactly. And before, when I was saying about, taking breaks, I was talking about slacking off. I was not talking about interacting with the guests, because that's what It's about. Like you said, it's about customer service.
It is. And no, I knew what you were referring to. It just, to me it's just, and maybe it's just one of my idiosyncrasies on it. It's just, I look at it from a standpoint of, yes, we have probably one of the greatest jobs in the world, that you get paid to go out and make people have fun week after week. And you have certain events that are going to be more formal than others. Some events are more flexible than others on, what you're able to play and how you can interact with the clientele. But the bottom line is that regardless of how you do it, it should still look and sound professional. You should still be professional.
So, just to say, I'm just going to put you on the spot for a moment. Say you had a wedding that wasn't, going right for one reason or another, and the songs you were playing just was not set in the mood. Would you change that up to try to liven the crowd during the chaos?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to. There are times to where, I have worked with couples to where the music that they've chosen doesn't exactly fit along with what their guests like to listen to or dance to. And as a professional, you kind of have to tell people, say, I will do what it is you want me to do because it is your wedding day, and respect that tremendously. But then you have to take control of the situation and say, okay, this isn't working, I need to try something else. And that's when you've got to change it. So if it's, you're playing alternative, or if you're playing classical, or if you're playing this and you're not quite getting the reaction, or people don't seem as motivated, sure, you definitely have to change it up and try maybe mainstream, or maybe country, or maybe oldies, or whatever the case might be to get that reaction. And more often than not, the couples are very appreciative of being the fact that you're flexible and that you were able to get people motivated and having a good time. It's very few that have actually come up to me and say, well, we wanted you to stick to what we requested all night long. And they're like, okay, if that's truly what you want, then that's what I'll do.
All right, and is there any kind of cancellation or rain check policy? Like if they were going to go through it and they changed their mind at the last moment, and then in the future they want to rebook?
Yeah, my deposit is non-refundable. And the reason that is just because of my years in business. I've gotten burned on that, and so when a couple books, it's a signed contract with a deposit. The deposit's non-refundable, but if something happens to where they need to reschedule their date to another date, or they've postponed it and they're not sure when they're going to reschedule or what's going on, then yeah, the deposit is applied to that date in the future, no problem. If they just cancel in general and that's it, Unfortunately, I do keep the deposit because that just puts in for the time that I've already put into the reception and for the time where I've held the date, because more often than not, I do get multiple calls for one date, so that's work that I'm turning away.
And that's understandable, to keep the deposit because you do work hard, very hard. And but the fact that you're willing to change that, there's so many companies out there that, will not only require that deposit, but if somebody changes it, they'll tack on like 15 million other fees because of, hardship or whatever, which is, in my opinion, BS. I mean, one or two is understandable, but I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, I've come across a lot of different situations in the number of years that I've been doing this. And, I mean, I've had to where a couple has been planning their event, and at the last second, being that he was in the military, he got deployed. So they had to postpone the wedding for 6 or 7 months. Or, a job transfer to where now the date they wanted, they have to do something different, because of a new job. I mean, we don't know the scenarios that people go through. And there's so many things that come up that I can't just, in good faith or good conscience, I just can't say, I can change your date, yes, but I'm going to have to charge you more. I'm going to have to do this. I mean, if we're talking just a change in date, but not a change in venue and everything else we've discussed, then I don't really see the need in charging more for that. I can easily, just say your deposit will stay when you have your date, and if I'm available, great. If I'm not, I'm sorry,
But exactly, but there's so many businesses that don't do that nowadays.
Exactly.
I mean, it's ridiculous. They don't even, worry about customer service. It's like the little people don't matter. The normal people don't matter. It's like, okay, if you have money, you matter. If you don't, well, go screw yourself.
Yeah, you're right. And one of the things I think that's helped me, and I've been fortunate enough to do, is I've been on both sides of the spectrum more than a few times. I mean, it seems like each year, I'm invited as a guest to a couple different events to where I get to see, different entertainment in action. I get to see the vibe, get the feel for everything, and I've seen good and I've seen very good, I've seen bad and I've seen very bad. And so what that does with me is when I see that, if I see something like, hey, that's kind of neat, maybe I can kind of tweak that and add that to my repertoire. Or if I see something very bad, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe, that's a person who calls himself a business. It really just makes you want to work harder and to be able to truly offer more for that couple. Because, like I say, at the end of the day, I could spend thousands of dollars on advertising. I could advertise in the Knock. I could advertise in the phone book. I could do all these different shows. Hold on a second. But at the end of the day, if my customer service doesn't match that, if my professionalism doesn't match that, if I can't produce what I promised, then none of that matters.
Exactly. It doesn't matter one lick at all. I have another. If somebody were to, book with you, do you have recommendations for photographers? Because there's so many scams out there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I've been fortunate in this area to where I've worked with a lot of wedding professionals, so I definitely have the resources, business cards, and information to give people when it comes to the vendors. So that I feel very blessed with.
Well, that's a really good thing to know because photography is like a main thing, just like, the wedding DJ is a main thing, just like the caterer is. Sure. If it's not all in sync and it's just some fly-by-night company, one company can ruin it all.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. The bottom line is when I, talk to couples, a lot of it is education. And most of the time, the first initial phone calls that I get from either a bride or bride's mom or the groom are just trying to feel out, what do you charge, what's the normal standard rate of package, that type of thing. And a lot of times what I try and do is I try and educate them, knowing that if they're going to shop around and look at a variety of sources of entertainment, I asked them, I said, you be sure you want to ask certain questions. You know, you want to ask your entertainment, is that going to be the disc jockey that's going to be doing your reception? The price they give you, are there any hidden fees, or is that the price you're going to be given? Can they give you, let you know all what's offered with that price? Are you going to get a signed contract? Are they insured? Do they have a website? Do they have references not only from clients, but also from wedding professionals as well that can verify the work they do and who they are?
Not
and a
to
lot of that is... Go ahead.
Not to cut you off, but explain to people how important it is to be insured.
Insurance nowadays is very important simply because more and more venues are requiring, and what that does is the liability policy, which is what I have, that covers my equipment. That covers the fact of, let's just say that my speaker is set up in another part of the room and somebody trips over a cord or something and my speaker falls to the ground. The insurance I have makes where the couple is then not liable for it. My insurance not only covers the damage in the equipment, but let's say if the person stubbed their toe and maybe they would need some medical attention, my insurance covers that. It also makes it to where the venue is not responsible. And especially in today, a lot more places are requiring that kind of liability insurance. In fact, I booked a karaoke event that's going to be happening next week, and that was the first thing they asked me, do I carry any liability insurance? And I sent them the policy, and they're like, we're good to go. So nowadays, that's very important, especially with corporate events, making sure that you're very well covered.
Yeah, exactly. In case you have drunk Bob that ruins all the equipment, you don't want to be liable for the equipment. Right. And if the company's not insured, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's all going to be out of your pocket rather than... So sometimes, people just have to think, because it is a big stage in their life, who is the right choice that creates the best value and gives me the best representation for, my guests and for, my family.
Exactly. It's not like it used to be many years ago. The wedding business has definitely changed, not only from a technology standpoint, but from a standpoint of responsibility, not only as owner-operators, but as entertainers. We have to make sure that we are consistent because we're only as good as our next event. Regardless of the many years that I've spent in this business, my next review could come from my wedding this coming Saturday. I have to be consistent from week to week with making sure that the couples are happy and satisfied with the product and service that I promise. I can't sit here and say, well, I've been doing this a long time. That speaks for itself. Not in today's market.
Okay, and what would, your name and your title, can you say that real quick? Because I wasn't sure how you pronounce your last name, and I don't want to get it wrong.
That's fine. My name is Ron Crivellone, and I am the owner of Smoky Mountain Sounds.
And they've been in business perhaps 25 plus years because he's been 5 years here, but 20 years other experience doesn't go down the drain. That basically states that he knows what he's doing and he's going to create the best value and give you the best packages for your money. And that's what it's about in this terrible economy, people's money.
Exactly.
So as far as like the entertainment, I mean, other than music, is there any games y'all play? Or, I mean, I'm not sure how this exactly works.
It depends on the event. There are a couple of icebreaker games that I use for wedding receptions. When it comes to other corporate events, I mean, we also do schools. I've got a couple of middle schools and a couple of elementary schools that I do. We definitely bring props to those schools to play games. I do anything from hula hoops to limbos. Some of the schools we go out, we bring glow sticks. My stepdaughter she does a lot of interactive dances with the kids that really get them, engaged and entertained. So, it depends on the event and what they're looking for. I try and keep things flexible to where I don't bring the same let's say, gimmicks for every event. If I know a couple wants very high energy and interactive, then that's what we bring to the reception. If they want something more than just, then maybe they just want the MC and the disc jockey, then that's what we do. So a lot of that depends on event to event.
Well, that's very important too, because I'm an NFL fan, and I'm sure there's plenty of people listening that are, and they know before the game, the events for the kids and the adults matter too. It's the whole package that matters, just not one thing.
Exactly. And you want your disc jockey to be your master of ceremonies. You want him to be comfortable. You want him to have that good personality, that charismatic personality. You want him to be a focal as far as attention, knowing that everything is going to get done at a wedding. But you don't want it to be so much the point where attention is on him the whole night. The entertainment is there strictly to enhance the event and make sure it's a success. The focal point is the couple getting married.
So other than wedding DJ, you said you go to schools and you do karaoke and all that, or what exactly other than weddings do you do?
Well, we've got a couple middle school accounts, do a couple elementary schools. I just did Sevier County High School Band Banquet. I've get quite a few Sweet 16 birthday parties that we do, anniversary parties. Corporate events. I've recently done a couple corporate events for veterans for the Moose Lodge and Elks Lodge. And I also, I do offer karaoke. I've got a company picnic next week that I'm doing karaoke for. And I just offer karaoke mainly for, private events, corporate events. A couple of the attractions in the area here also use my services throughout the summer for karaoke, as well as do a couple of the resorts.
So hold up now. So you do military style events. You help out the kids. You do all kinds of different things. So basically, you provide entertainment for everyone.
Yes. In fact, the first weekend of June, I'll be providing entertainment for the Relay for Life out here for Sevier County at Patriot Park. They're going to definitely have other church groups and comedians that are going to be coming in, but throughout that whole event from, I think, 4 p.m. Friday to 10 a.m. Sunday, throughout that, I will be also entertaining, playing music, playing games with the kids, creating some energy for the people walking the laps, the cancer survivors and all that. So it's definitely going to be a very fun, action-packed weekend.
So it sounds like you have references all over. Like everybody knows who you are.
I wouldn't say everybody, but it's definitely growing.
But I was talking about in the local area.
I've gotten established. I go to as many networking events as I can. I'm a member of all 3 chambers. I'm also a member of the Pigeon Forge Hospitality Association. Also a member of the Smoky Mountain Wedding Association. And, we also go to the attractions, luncheons, and everything to network. And, I want people to understand that we're a legitimate business. We're a business for the community. We're not just here to say, hire me, I'm a DJ. I'm also here to let people know that we're here to get involved and be a part of the community and be a resource that will help the area and businesses grow. So we definitely do our best to try and stay actively involved and stay out there in the community.
And that's what it's about. I mean, you provide superior customer service. You cater to any crowd. You take care of the military vets as well as, the kids out there, which matters to people. And you provide, entertainment all around, and you're willing to go the extra mile for people, being yourself and then, your daughter. I mean, that's just phenomenal in itself. I mean, there should be so many people that do this, and you're not a fly-by-night company, and you have references. That is, to me, you're, probably the best out there, or one of the best out there in the area, because you actually care, and caring's all that matters, in this day and age. You have to care, and you have to, be there for people.
I agree with that. And, that's what it is. It's just about week to week, it's about being thankful for the calls that come in and being thankful for the fact that I do have events and the more ways that we can get involved, we will. And I'm very appreciative and blessed to be able to have the opportunity.
Exactly. We'll definitely try to get you out there as much as we can because we go around to different places and we interview bands and then we actually go to their shows. We're not like one of them, places that's like, all right, yeah, I'm going to stay home.
Well, like I said, I invite you guys to come out. It's June 6th and June 7th. It's the Relay for Life at Patriot Park. I definitely invite you to come out there and check us out and tell us what you think. And, like I said, we update our website weekly, not only on pictures but blogs. And I not only have a Facebook page for myself, but also a business Facebook page. So I invite people to like the page and kind of keep up, in tune with what we're doing next. And, we're just looking to grow a community, looking to grow our resources and let people know that, we're here to make a difference and hopefully be a blessing to the people who hire us. So we definitely appreciate the time.
Exactly. That's what it's about. It's about, actually caring for people in this day and age where, more corporations out there just don't seem to care anymore and just treat, the customer like crap. The fact that you're, willing to go the extra mile and go the distance it takes to do what you got to do without, going for cigarette breaks and all that stuff that's unnecessary to, entertain the crowd. That's what it's about. I mean,
right.
Hats off to you. I give you so much credit.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. And like I said, thank you for the time to be interviewed today. So.
All right, Ron. Well, we'll do everything we can to try to get you out there and everything. Thank you for coming on 2 Local Radio.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right. You take care.
You too.
Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now. In your eyes lie the secrets I don't wanna miss. Put your hand in my hand and make a fist. Grab my shirt, curl your lip as if you know. Staring back in my eyes saying please don't go. I don't know what I know, what I know, what I know what it is that you really, really want or you need. I hate every moment away from you. I see you sleeping in my dreams. I know you're in your mother's arms. I know that you're safe from harm. You know I'm coming home real soon, and I'm bringing all my love for you. Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now.